Speak into the mic. Each of you.
Hello.
Testing. 1,
All right.
2.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Testing.
Okay.
In progress is ours once more. Now that we have the neutron bomb, it's nice and quick and clean and get things done. Away with the enemy, but no less valued a property. The sense in war, but perfect sense at home. The sun beams down and a brand new day. No more welfare tax to pay. And something Salem's gonna be catching a lie.
All right, we are live with Left of Wrong with our sound guy. Let's mention him by first, Carl Kozlowski.
Hello.
And we got Randy Harken here.
That's me,
And I'm Jim Coughlin.
Jimmy
And
C.
That's as much as I have prepared for this week.
Left of Wrong.
I've run out of things to say. But yeah, well, hopefully we'll fill this hour with nonsense and chatter.
I hope it's going to be informative and educational.
Oh, thank you. That's even better. Even better.
Yeah.
I know you're a huge film guy, and actually Carl's a professional reviewer, but it's the Golden Globe nominations. That's the start of the Oscar season.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's how big of a film guy I am?
Yeah.
No idea.
I've been on a film-going kick, so I can fill in where maybe you haven't seen these things.
So let me get this straight. All the world leaders meeting to discuss climate change. The number one issue
news story is
facing
Golden Globes.
the world. Most important issue.
Yeah.
And everyone's meeting this week.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about the beautiful people.
yeah.
And the hard work that they do on those films.
You make a good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up one film, though.
Yeah.
One film that caused me to take a tiny little bit of action. And then we can go back to this later once we resolve all the world's problems.
Okay. All right.
The movie is Spotlight, and it is about it was a column that was known as the Spotlight in the Boston Globe, and it's about how they broke the Catholic priest pedophile scandal in Boston, and it shows you all the people protecting the system, and ultimately they get the story, and it runs in the Spotlight, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, it prompted me to action, and I am now a digital New York Times subscriber. First time in my life.
Why did you sign up? How did it motivate you, and why?
Because I feel like I need to do some tiny thing to support investigative journalism.
Yay.
And the Boston Globe at that point had already been purchased by the same company that I believe that owns the New York Times. Yeah. So I'm still sort of supporting the Boston Globe in that sense.
I was hoping you were going to say that you were going to stop molesting boys, but that's good. You're a New York Times subscriber online. It's baby steps, really.
You know what?
Baby steps.
You can't stop molesting children if you never start. And I never started, so I feel pretty good.
That's not on your wish list for to-do list for 2016?
No, I would not even molest a 50-year-old that looked like a boy.
Who?
No interest.
So that sounds like a film that I should watch, The Spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a downer, but it's very well done. I think it's the best movie I saw pretty much in 2015, with the exception of maybe Mad Max, some action movies, but in terms of the dramas that I saw, I think it was the best.
See, I think that and it's epidemic scandal, right? And covered up, and still probably being covered up, and it's never been completely. They have not righted all their wrongs, in that church. And this week that Donald Trump, well, he probably does this every week. It's just now that he's out in front of he's getting airtime, 24 times a day on MSNBC and CNN, that people realize that he has called for a ban on all Muslims coming into the country.
Yes, and it might technically be constitutionally allowable somehow. I don't know, but certainly goes against the spirit. It basically says to a group of Americans, which is over like 2 million, although it could be 5, it doesn't matter. It's basically saying we're saying this religion is illegitimate, and that is not the role of government. Donald Trump doesn't understand or care about this. Plus, he's a total hypocrite. I mean, it's not like he's been against Islam. There's photos of him shaking hands with Muhammad Ali, one of the most famous in our culture, Muslims. He had building project going on in the Muslim in the Arab world, and some of those projects now they're taking his name off of it. But I mean, he didn't have a problem with Muslims last week. He's
opportunistic, but I think he's hitting a nerve, and I'm okay with a religious test coming into this country.
Yes,
as long as we would ban all religions people from coming into this country.
right.
Because getting back to the pedophile scandal. I think you could categorize that as terrorism. I think you could categorize the Catholic Church as a terrorist organization. This nut in Colorado Springs, something tells me, because in his defense today, he spoke out that he was defending the babies.
Yeah.
He's protecting babies.
Yeah.
I was protecting babies, and I'm sure...
By shooting random strangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a Christian thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's just face it. If you're protecting a baby, it's you can spray a room.
It's just...
with bullets.
Exactly.
But I that's an act of terrorism. And obviously what happened in San Bernardino.
Yes.
But, I think we need to get rid of the word terrorist and terrorism, because I think every time we use that, I think it feeds in to escalating terrorism. Like, I think when you use those words, I think the terrorists win. And
how about just douchebag? Or
then I think, but that's a little derogatory towards actual douchebags.
You're right,
because now you're lumping
you're right.
your garden variety douchebag
in
with somebody. So I would submit that we start using language, and this is going to be the liberal progressive side of me, but we start using language like misguided enthusiasm. Like it's it was just because we don't want to discourage that level of enthusiasm. We just need to redirect it. Right?
Yeah, go kill a bunch of people, but not in that way.
Yeah, or go learn how to I don't know,
save lives,
kayak, or go rock.
Sure.
Yeah, just channel it into something else.
That was me.
It's just misguided.
Yeah.
That's all.
By the way, I did kind of call one thing on that San Bernardino shooting. The day it had happened. I did start to say something about the men. I was like, well, then again, it could have been a woman, and of course that was really just a joke. And then a few hours later, we learned it was a woman.
It was
a woman, and maybe we're finding she's at least equal, and maybe even a driving force behind this. But it seems like, to me, I'm jumping into the San Bernardino thing, it does seem like they were planning something, and then he got pissed off at his own company picnic. So it became kind of a reversal of like, all right, I know I was going to shoot up that cafeteria at the school, but now I just want to shoot up the people I work with. So we went back and, they kind of went into operation very quickly.
Yeah.
And, first of all, it's pretty horrible when you shoot up a bunch of strangers. It's even worse when you shoot up people you've worked with. You know these people. You know their lives and stuff. That's really horrible. Yeah. Very horrible people.
Well, I mean, if I may, the thing that strikes me as odd is this friend of theirs, the Marquez guy. It's like, and I'm throwing this out there as somebody who is a recovering conservative, trying to see the light, and you guys are very informative to me. But I got schooled by another friend who's from the left this week, and I think he misunderstood my intention. But I said, how does this guy Marquez get questioned? And they know that he's admitted that he provided them the guns, and he has this weird marriage to another Muslim woman that seems to be somebody who was part of the trouble, and all sorts of strange things that he did for them. And then he wrote, it was a pleasure on their Facebook wall after they died, like, oh, it was a pleasure working with you, and then they still haven't taken him in and
What?
arrested him. And my friend and this other guy, who's just as left as you guys are, was like going, "No, this is where the American Constitution comes in, and the guy until the guy gets convicted, they have no right to arrest him. He's just being questioned." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's admitting everything." And he could run any time or kill himself any time.
Yeah. Well, if they have enough evidence to hold him, which it sounds like they would. I mean, he owned guns that were then used. And you might be able to show that you didn't know they had that intent, but whatever. But it seems to me they could hold him. So maybe, as somebody else I think on that same thread pointed out, maybe he's not being held specifically because they want him to communicate with other people and observe him and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's being observed, and like every move he makes is being watched.
But I mean, this guy is in danger. Not only I'm thinking of, I'm saying it's almost a danger to himself that he's now known to be cooperating with the authorities. So who's to say that any of his associates that may still be out there won't have it out, even if he's being surveilled.
Right.
All it takes is one pot shot by somebody who doesn't care if they get shot too.
Right.
And they take out somebody who's a valuable source of info. I don't know. It just, not to hijack this thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I don't fear that he'll escape. I don't know. I mean, I think, who knows? But I think they probably have a reason they're not trying to hold him. Because they certainly have held people for less than providing a gun that's used in a massacre.
I just hope that he responds to my friend request on Facebook. That's it.
Yes.
Did you really send one or no?
No.
I should try that.
Now, jumping back to the priest scandal and connecting that with something else.
The documentary, which is nominated for Best Documentary at the Golden Globes.
No, well, it's a fiction film.
It's a drama.
Dramatization.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's not a documentary.
It's not a documentary. And it's got, who does it have?
Michael Keaton, Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams. It's an amazing cast.
Yeah.
There's about 7 other actors. That are really big.
Liev Schreiber.
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. But what the movie...
He stars in a lot of pedophile.
That's his specialty.
Yeah.
Well, he's Juilliard trained, so
yeah.
No, I don't know. So that movie showed you how it wasn't about the priests that were molesting the children. It was about the entire system that protects them and sends them to treatment and says, "Oh, this is a minor thing, and we're going to give you money to pay for things, but here, sign this non-disclosure agreement so that no one can ever hear about it." All this stuff, right? And it's a different system, but it's so, to me, similar to the system that protects police officers. Police officers do something that's clearly outside of what they should have been doing, outside their training, violating the law, and the police unions, and the prosecuting attorneys are all in line, in sync, protecting them. And there was a shooting that happened, I think it was
but if they don't protect each other, how can they protect us?
That's true. Very good point. So there was in Paradise, California, on November 25th, I think it was. This guy, I mean, he's probably a dirtbag. He's drunk driving, okay? And he goes past this cop car, I think without his lights on. The cop...
I hope they shot him.
Chases after him. Well, you're in luck. You're in luck. There's a rollover crash. The guy's wife is killed, and he is alive, okay? He pops, the car is on its side. He pops out of the vehicle, and you can watch this video from the dash cam. The cop gets out of his car. He unholsters his gun, lifts it up, shoots the guy in the neck. The guy falls back down into the vehicle. He immediately reholsters his gun. Just walks like he does. He never stops his walk.
You know why? Because that's badass. When you do that. Yeah.
So
that's like you do when, like in the movies, when they never look back at the explosion.
Yes,
you don't. That same thing when you're a cop.
Yeah.
Drill instructor is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he finished. So he's then he calls it in. I think he maybe said the guy might have a gun or whatever. Anyway, he calls it in. Paramedics show up. Only. Like later, though, they don't know that there's a shooting involved. They just know it was a rollover crash. Only when they